Ask. Only one of the names on the 4 licenses.
Okay, I'm reconvening this meeting back at 10:04. And we will move forward as we did before we broke for that quick break. Our final public meeting has been adjourned, and so now we need to go back to the agenda. And I believe we are concluded with the public meetings. We need now to move on to, hold on a second. Before we go into the agenda again, it is now 10:04, and we have a number of things, including in camera. So can we pass a motion now, even though we'll be speedy as we can we pass a motion to go beyond the hour of 11 o'clock? I need a mover and a seconder for that.
Second.
That's Councillor Gannan, Councillor Bilsma. Okay, all in favor? I have 3 here. I have a majority of council. We have that motion passed. Okay, so now we're on a quick thing to get through. We have a request to address items on the agenda. We don't have anyone left. Okay, is there anyone wishing to address council committee? No. We have consent agenda items. We have a number of them. Yes. And the recommendation is that the Planning, Building, Environmental Committee hereby approves the following consent agenda items. Item 1, the Public Advisory Committee meetings be and are hereby received for information. And items 2, a recommendation on 2284658 Ontario, Bristol Motors. 3, which is Woodstead Holdings, Inc. And 4, which is Streamside Plan of Subdivision, the dedication of the public highway. Those items are to be hereby received and recommendations contained therein adopted. I need a mover and a seconder. Councillor Bell, Councillor Bilsma. All in favor? That motion carries. Okay, with communications, we have item 1 is the West Lincoln Chamber of Commerce. That's their holiday home show, which is to take place on December the 2nd. The recommendation is that the correspondence from the West Lincoln Chamber of Commerce dated November 7th requesting that holiday home show be designated as a community festival in order to obtain a special events permit from the Ontario Alcohol and Gaming Commission be received, and 2, that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of West Lincoln hereby designate the holiday home show as a community festival of municipal significance in accordance with the Liquor License Act of Ontario and the Alcohol and Gaming Commission of Ontario, which festival is to be held on December 2nd, 2017 at the West Niagara Agricultural Society, 7402 Mud Street, Grassy, Ontario, and that this approval be and are hereby authorized prior to the ratification by council. I need a mover. Councillor Bell, Councillor Gannan. Comments? Seeing none, all in favor? That motion carries. On item P1 2017, members of committee, I asked for that item to be put on. I'm going to relinquish the chair to our vice chair, Councillor Gannan, and so that I can put it on the table, but I give her the chair. The item's right there, Councillor Gannan.
Okay, so item P127-17, the Town of Lakeshore, support of the resolution, requests the province of Ontario to ease restrictions of surplus dwelling severances in areas zoned agricultural. The recommendation is that the correspondence from the Town of Lakeshore dated April 28, 2017, requesting support of their resolution for the province of Ontario to ease restrictions of surplus dwelling severances in areas zoned agriculture, thereby permitting the seller of the farm to sever off an existing dwelling, i.e. a farmhouse, be received, and Councillor Chichok.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would ask that this be received and endorsed, and that correspondence of its endorsement be sent to our MPP as well as to the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, AMO, and the Premier's office.
Okay.
And if I could speak to that, Councillor Gannan, if I can get a seconder.
All right, so we need someone to second the motion. Councillor Rayner?
Thank you. Madam Chair, I put this on the agenda because at the current moment, APO, agricultural purposes only, is the designation that happens when someone wishes to sell their farm and retire. And up until now, you need to have a bona fide farmer to be in place to purchase your land. So it becomes very difficult for someone who wishes to sever their land and maintain the house or find a reputable buyer to actually conclude the sale because you need to go out and find somebody who's a farmer who's willing to buy your land, APO, and provide for the severance and then sell the house back to you. So the issue is, if a retiring farmer has, there are other things in this whole idea of where we're going, but the reality of what it is I'm looking for is that if a farmer wishes to retire, he can sever the house, they can sever the house and maintain it as their residence, and then the severance can be put up for sale. But why is it that a farmer who's lived on the land for some time must find a bona fide farmer to purchase the land to be able to obtain a severance for them if they choose to stay in the house that they've lived in for as many years as they're there? So that was the reason why I pulled this, to say that I wanted it to be not just received but also endorsed, and comments sent to those people that could consider this in their next realm of APOs.
Okay, are there any, Councillor Rayner?
Thank you, Madam Chair, Acting Chair. Further to Councillor Chichok, back in 2005, Dalton McGinty, who had been the Premier of Ontario, took away the 1 acre farm rent severance, that people who worked on the farms all their life had the right to sever 1 acre, build a homestead, and give the farm to the kids. And usually that's what I believe its intentions to be. Now with the surplus farm dwelling, as Councillor Chichok said, if somebody who's lived on the farm all their life and the kids don't want it and it's too much for them to look after and they just want the house in 1 acre, they're basically either hoping to find somebody that'll give them a reasonable price for everything and then they got to turn around and buy it back. Or they have an opportunity now, if this goes through, where they can sever, they can stay on the homestead and they can sell the land to a bona fide farmer. So it reduces the cost considerably of the individual who originally owned the farm, and it gives them the opportunity to keep the homestead without the risk of losing it. So I fully endorse Councillor Chichok's bringing this forward and wanting this to be supported by committee, because it's harder and harder for the farming community with many generations of farmers to really have something to hold on to left of all the years that their families have put into their place. And it makes it much more difficult for them to keep it now. And this would certainly be an easy way. The other thing, of course, is if you don't do it this way, and people know that you want to buy it back, it could change the values of the property and not be realistic.
There's the issue.
And that's the issue. If you know that they want to stay there really bad, well, then I'll only give you $2,000 an acre when you know it's worth $5,000 or $6,000 an acre, because they know you want to keep the house. So it puts the owner in a really awkward situation, and in all fairness to the person buying, if they're legitimate, it kind of puts them in an awful situation too. This would take that away, and it would still achieve the purpose. The purpose is to keep the land in agriculture. And 1 acre is an accepted severance regardless. I mean, 1 acre and the house is not going to affect the viability of the farm if it's sold to a viable farmer. And that's what we want to do, is maintain agriculture on agricultural land.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Rayner. Councillor Trompetta.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. Either this goes to Councillor Chichok or Mr. Trouble. What is the difference that we've been doing now with these surplus farm dwellings? What's the difference between this and what we've already been doing since we walked into council? That came up every week pretty much at planning. Can someone please clarify that for me, because I'm a little confused?
Get it from the horse.
Right now, through you, Madam Chair, right now the rules say that if you are a bona fide farmer and you are consolidating your holdings through purchase of another land, and as part of that process you do not require that house that's on the additional property, then you can sever that house off as surplus to your need. So to Councillor Chichok's point, it is a purchaser that you have defined who is able to help you get the house severed off. You, as the owner of the land living on the property, are not entitled to that severance. And the way it's interpreted is you can only qualify for that severance if you're in the process of purchasing the property. That's the way it's written right now.
The way it's right now, okay. So you can't, so if I do that, let's say I had a farm and I did that, I can't purchase that property. Is that the way it is written right now?
If
Sorry?
Councillor Bilsma, did you want to?
Anyone,
I
yeah.
just want, I'm the same line, so if he gets his question answered, I'll get mine.
Okay.
if you are putting your house on the market or your farm on the
Okay, I
market,
got a farmhouse, I got 100 acres.
you want to sell 99 and keep one.
Correct. That's what we've been seeing all along, that's what, like, all these that have been coming across.
You can't do that. You need me to come and buy it from you. Well, most,
You need a farmer to come by from.
Right.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
there we go.
Yeah.
There's the answer.
You can't initiate it, a farmer has to.
in a lot of cases, Madam Chair,
Okay.
there's an understanding before the farmer even purchases that he's going to go through, he or she's going to go through the severance process, and the house stays with the original owner.
So that this
But-
changes that where it doesn't have to buy
Yes.
the farmer coming anymore. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Treble, for clarification.
Welma
Okay.
and Mr. Treble.
And anybody else, right?
All of them.
Are there any further questions or comments? Councillor Bilsma.
So, yeah, that did clear up, so I'm glad that Councillor Trombetta got his answer. Now, there was just a comment that was made, and Councillor Chichok made that the purchaser doesn't have to, or the owner doesn't have to find a bona fide farmer to initiate this. So they initiate this. They still have the problem of selling the surplus, now it would be kind of the surplus lands, to a bona fide farmer. They could only sell it to a bona fide farmer. They couldn't sell it to a developer or to, okay, so it's still protected by the zoning. Okay, all
I
right,
can't, sorry, to the point,
yeah.
I can't, as a farmer, sell my farm, to sever my house off and sell the residual for whatever it's worth and protect myself adequately. That's my intention, is I want to own the house. In theory, I can go and wink, wink, nudge, nudge to the farmer who wants to buy the balance of my property, maintain my house. But those kind of deals don't always go right. So if I want the farm, if I want the farmhouse, I want to be able to maintain the farmhouse, sever it, which I can't do now under the law, and then sell the 99 acres. But even if I kept it, I've still maintained the integrity of agricultural land use only, right?
Okay, so further,
You have
I
more?
believe, yeah,
Okay.
I believe I still have the floor.
Yes, you do.
I'm just looking to you.
Yes, you do.
I've raised, when they started coming in hot and furious at the beginning of our term, I kind of had an objection trying to understand this. And, obviously I think we're all in agreement around the horseshoe that we want to protect agricultural land. So if we support this and endorse this and we get our way on this by sending the appropriate letters and the province comes, I want to ensure that so a farmer can initiate this severance himself, and then the APO would still be on the balance of the land that was severed off. The surplus now would be a surplus land because he's retaining that would automatically in the application become an APO. What timelines, what implications are on that? Is there a time frame that he has to complete a transaction one way or the other? I understand that he can initiate it, but we want to see this a view to an end, that the land, the surplus land, doesn't become dormant, vacated, flea-bane fest, whatever. That it does actually, in a certain period of time, get taken up by a farmer. See, I can appreciate why the province initially did it this way, because it's immediately absorbed into a working farm. A bona fide farmer has to initiate this. They're trying to protect the land rather than to have it lie dormant or so what are the implications in this Lakeshore application, or that would, or in the question that Lakeshore is putting forward to the province that we would be endorsing? Are there stipulations at how long that this could lie? Okay.
Okay, so Mr. Treble, at one point, before Councillor Bilsma started again, you wanted to speak?
Well,
Do you want to attempt to answer that? or-
just a couple of thoughts. I'm not sure if they're helpful or not anymore, though, but I tend to agree that I think the concept of APO would probably get applied. I think that's the only way you'd ever get provincial support is to put APO on. And I do agree with Councillor Bylsma that I think the intent of the province is to encourage those agricultural lands to be active. That's why they've done it the way they have. That certainly makes sense. There is nothing, though, anywhere that I'm aware of that mandates that you must farm your land. You could choose to let it all go idle and revert back to a natural state tomorrow, and there's really nothing we can do to force or stop that from happening. And I suppose the other piece just to throw out there is that under the current rules, it usually is applied that once a severance, always a severance. So the farmer could end up maintaining both pieces and never have to sell. I don't know how we could force that, to be honest, so.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Councillor Chichok, did you want to say anything further to that?
Just that we're not dictating what it is the province would do other than to look at how they would consider doing this. So the question of timing and all that other stuff might come through as the ministry reviews it, if they even choose to. But this is just to say, you know what, you haven't thought about all the sides when you put this through.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm done.
Any further comments or questions? Okay, well, I don't have the resolution in front of me. Do I somewhere?
On the screen.
Okay, just that be received and, but you added further to that. So do you want to reiterate, move by? We do the and ... Or do you want to
I
try
wanted
to
it,
attempt
I
to put it
wanted
together
it
again?
received and endorsed, and that letters be sent to, oh, here it is.
Oh, good.
You read it,
Thank you, Carolyn.
Carolyn.
And that a copy be sent to the MPP, Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing at AMO, and the Premier's office.
Okay, thank you. So you've heard in pieces the resolution. I'm going to call the vote. All in favor of the resolution? Okay, and that resolution carries.
Amen. Thank you, Councillor Ganan. So we're now on to staff reports, item P128-17. Pardon me. A report, PD 137-17, technical report about Gerald and Page Kelt, application for rezoning. So that recommendations are the report PD 137-17 regarding Gerald and Page Kelt, application for rezoning file number 1601-01317 dated November 13th, 2017 be received, and that a recommendation report be presented at a future Planning, Building, Environmental Committee meeting, and after a revised justification report is received along with the relevant agency comments. I need a mover. Councillor Trombetta, Councillor Bylsma. Comments? Seeing none, all in favor?
That's to receive it, right?
That's
Receive.
to receive and
And
to,
send it.
and recommendation report to come back someday with a revised justification. All in favor? Okay. Those against? I need a show of hands, gentlemen. 1, 2. Those abstaining? That motion fail. Well, that would mean that's not a tie. That motion fails. That's 3-2. That motion fails. 3-2. The chair was not required to vote. I can't. And a tie. There's no tie. No, he's a no.
He's a no.
So that means,
3-3.
well, if I vote, I'll sign. I vote in favor. That is a tie vote.
So it still fails.
Okay. Madam Clerk, can you just tell us that the recommendation report be presented at a future Planning, Building, Environmental Committee meeting? That is an application. It is for a report to come back, so a tie vote, which ultimately means a negative decision, so we are not voting in favor of the staff recommendations. That says that this item, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but either side of me can tell me what happens to this item. Having a lot of firsts here tonight.
It's really you to members of the committee. This is simply a report to refer it back, to refer it to, for a final report. And it is a zoning amendment, and I believe if I defer to the director, it could be appealed to the OMB if we don't proceed on an application. So I will have Mr. Treble respond.
Under the Planning Act, we have 120 days to make a decision from the date it was deemed to be a complete application. So if you, I'm not really sure, I think we're being told not to prepare a recommendation report, I guess, which is kind of odd, so.
A revised justification report. Mr. Treble, is this really a completed application? That's the part that I think I'm hanging my hat on at the moment. Is this complete?
It was deemed to be a complete application, yes. As staff did a review, we found a few questions in the justification report that we asked for clarification on. Staff have seen the clarification. I don't think committee has. I don't think we had time to submit the clarification to committee. But it was to really help flush out some of the questions that I think even came to light in the public meeting tonight in terms of whether this is a home industry or an on-farm diversified kind of application. You know, what are we really dealing with? To me, I think we should look at a recommendation report before committee really considers failing the application, but.
So the item has been duly put forward and moved, seconded, and it failed. At this point in time, we really don't need to talk about it, but it really does mean that the applicant's ability to deal with his request goes directly to the OMB, because we will likely not have a recommendation report, and his only alternative is to appeal us. But I will take questions just for clarity, okay? We're not talking about the merits of the report. Mr. Treble.
Just to put it out there, Madam Chair, I am so sorry. This is a bylaw enforcement matter, too,
Yes.
that they're trying to resolve through a rezoning. So the judge is going to look and want clarity in terms of why the
Yes.
township hasn't resolved this.
Okay, so I'm going to start because I saw Councillor Rayner's hand. I see Councillor Bell. Anyone else? Councillor Gannan. Okay, so Councillor, we'll go in that order. Councillor Rayner. Questions?
No, if I can just make a comment, Chair.
Sure.
In my years of experience with a situation like that, where there's a shocking answer and there's a feeling of uncomfortableness, usually something happens between committee and council that quite often changes it. I'm not saying it's gonna happen this time, but I would say 99.9% of the time we've seen this happen in the past, it's something that happens in council. Also, we are one member shy tonight.
I
And
noticed.
that member will probably doesn't because he likes to sing the national anthem. So
Councillor Rayner,
I would
enough with the,
assume that may also change the vote.
okay, so
So
thank
I'm
you.
just saying-
Councillor Rayner, I understand the process. We can take this to council and we can change it there. The question was, there were questions tonight on what it is we've just done. The item sits, failed at this point in time. If anyone wishes to talk about that for clarity, you're absolutely right. Let me give you clarity. You can do something different. You can pull the item at council. So, and I might just do that. Councillor Bell.
I'm opposed to this application period.
Terry, microphone.
Sorry, I'm opposed to this, but in light of, because we're also dealing with a bylaw fraction, I would like to change my vote to an in favor so that we can bring this back with a recommendation report, at which time I'll revert back to my original vote of not being in favor.
I've got the CAO wishing to speak to us. Thank you, Councillor
Okay.
Bell, at the right time, so we're going to hear Councillor Gannan and the CAO, and then we'll come back and see if we want to do what you want to ask. We can reconsider.
So my question actually was to you, Mr. Treble, and that is, what are the expectations? I wrote the note at the earlier part when people were talking about, what is it that we want from bylaw enforcement? So we asked somebody to go and visit, and they say that there's an infraction, and then we have to do something about that. So it seemed to be around this table a very negative thing, that they are now trying to put some legitimacy to what they're doing. But isn't that what we want as an end result anyway? If we have something that's happening that is illegal due to zoning or any other reason, and they have had a bylaw officer visit and say, you know, you are not complying, you know, you're in the wrong here, isn't this what we want, is for them to come forward and say, okay, you know, I was wrong, I tried to operate a business when I wasn't supposed to be doing that, so now I want to rectify that by doing this, and this. So I'm not sure they went about it the right way, but isn't ultimately that what we want people to do who are in violation, is to fix it up somehow?
Well, through you, Madam Chair, I think it's safe to say that the role of the OMB is changing, and we're only perhaps guessing at anything that we put on the table right now. But historically, both a judge and the chair of the OMB would look to council and see what the decision was before they proceed forward. So a lack of decision isn't really something that either organization is going to look favorably on. I think they would prefer to see you actually vote on a bylaw as opposed to failing a staff report.
Well, and I wasn't really referring to that. I was referring to the fact that there were members around the Horseshoe who seemed to take a very negative view of the fact that this applicant had already been in violation, you know, had not been operating legally, this business that he had. That he sort of gave false explanations as to what he wanted to do with that barn, and then suddenly, you know, it's become something else. But to my way of thinking, if somebody is operating a business illegally, then we want them to come into compliance in some way. So to me, I'm not sure why that, in the discussions earlier, and I didn't want to bring that out, and, you know, it doesn't make sense to me that that was a bad thing as opposed to being a good thing to do.
It certainly, through you, Madam Chair, is a frustration for all of us. But at the end of the day, you don't use any of that criteria when you evaluate whether it's good planning or not. You have to look at the policy basis and determine whether or not there's merit in the application, and if so, what components of it are worthy.
So the fact that there's been a bylaw violation,
Doesn't play into it.
okay, so it shouldn't also play into decision-making then, is what you're saying. Thank you.
Okay. No, I would like everybody to refrain from the sidebar discussions. I've got the CAO wishing to tell us something here right now. We're either going to get on with things, or we're going to look at the process to reconsider, okay? So that'll be the two, let her talk.
Through you to members of the committee, as was noted by the Director of Planning, it would be appropriate to hear the application and the rezoning report, so there is a mechanism to reconsider this technical report at council, so that the process can continue, so that we look like we've vetted the whole process appropriately. So there is a way to fix it, and I'll leave it at that.
So we have choices. We can take it to council where we can pull it, reconsider it, not even reconsider it. It's there that it's actually concluded. So we can rethink it tonight by a motion. Do we have to reconsider? No. At council. So tonight we should just leave it. It has failed, and we'll move on to council, and it will be there that we actually deal with it again. Okay, now that we're on a roll, P129-17 is a technical report about Kevin Gonson, application for rezoning regarding 1601-014-17, an application for draft plan condominium, file number 2000-086-17. The recommendations. That report, PD 142-17, regarding Kevin Gonson, application for rezoning, file number 1601-014-17, and application for draft plan of condominium, file number 2000-086-17, dated November 13th, 2017, be received, and that a recommendation report be presented at a future Planning, Building, Environmental Committee meeting once all agency and public comments have been received. I need a mover. Councillor Bell, Councillor Ganan. Are there any comments? Questions? All in favor? That motion carries. Okay. File number, pardon me, item P130-17, a technical report regarding Shay Jor Gao. I hope I got that close. But anyway,
Council,
yes.
Chair, since this was adjourned, item should be,
There would still be a motion to refer it back to staff, would there not?
as it states right now.
I wouldn't read that. If you just give me a moment, I would have read a recommendation that said that this item be referred back to staff. Do we? Oh, right, we have to put it on the floor so that we can refer it back. So if you'll let me just finish here. Application for rezoning file number 1601009-17. A recommendation for that is that report PD 14617 regarding Shay Jor Gao. Application for rezoning file number 1601009-17 dated November 13th, 2017 be received, and that a recommendation report be presented at a future Planning, Building, Environmental Committee meeting once all agency and public comments have been received and reviewed. I need a mover and seconder to put that on the table. Councillor Bilsma, Councillor Bell. I expect that I'll be hearing motions, amendments to that motion. I'm expecting that I'll accept a motion for that to be referred back to staff. And that motion would be from
Me?
Councillor Belsma. Can I get a seconder? Councillor Ganan. I got Ganan first. I was looking this way that time, sorry. That item, the amendment is on the table. Sorry, but the amendment to the motion, the referral. Sorry, you're right, it is a referral. Gosh, I'm getting all kinds of reprimands here tonight. Excellent.
You know, you're doing fine, but
Thank you. Now, the referral's on the table. You don't really speak to referrals.
my question is there,
Sure, go ahead, speak to it.
no, it's, well, the question is with regards to, there's still a public meeting that's still hanging.
No, we concluded that meeting.
No,
With
we
his-
adjourned,
No, I concluded it at 10:51.
okay, so,
I asked if he would like it adjourned. He said yes. And then I said, I'm going to adjourn this meeting. Do I have your concurrence? He said yes.
oh, okay.
9:51.
Thank you. Not, sorry, 9:51.
No.
Thank you, Councillor Bell. Special note of that time.
Okay, so I'm fine then. I thought maybe that
That's
was
okay.
an opportunity for the second meeting, that had to be addressed in this referral, but I'm happy the way it is, and if he understood that it was adjourned, then it's adjourned, yeah.
Okay, I have on the table a motion to refer this item back to staff with no more comments from anybody. I'm asking for. All in favor of the referral? That motion carries. P131-17, report PD 147-17, a recommendation report regarding Cindy Hunt and Harry Popelek. Application for rezoning, file number 1601012. The recommendations are that report PD 147-17 regarding Cindy Hurt and Harry Popelek. Application for rezoning, file number 160101217 dated November 13th, 2017 be received, and that section 34 sub 17 of the Planning Act apply and no further public meetings are required, and that the application for zoning bylaw amendment 160101217 submitted by Cindy Hunt and Harry Popelek be approved. I need a mover and a seconder. Councillor Bell, Councillor Ganan. All in favor? Well, that motion carries. I'm sorry if I did not give you a chance to comment. If anyone wants it, I apologize. Item P13217, Chief Building Official and Director of Planning's report, recommendation report on amendment to the Township Building Bylaw, Bylaw 2017-15. The recommendation is that report PD 155-17 regarding an amendment to the Township Building Bylaw, Bylaw 2017-15, dated November 13th, 2017, be received, and that the building bylaw amendment as attached to this report be adopted and take effect on January 1st, 2018. I need a mover. Councillor Bell, Councillor Trombetta. Comments?
Yep.
Councillor Bilsma.
So, my question is, was this presented earlier, and what are the amendments? Like, it's dealing with sewer, but I'm not understanding what the implications
Okay,
So can I
Councillor,
get some clarification on
Sure.
what's being amended here?
let me see if I can get you some help. Mr. Treble, have you got this item?
And what
Yes, I
we
do,
should-
Madam Chair. This bylaw amendment is to achieve a couple of things. If you recall, we had a property in Silverdale by Mr. Vedonk, which was considerably less usable area than 1 acre. And based on current practice and current procedure, it's normal that when you create a lot, you look at the ability to have a septic system and room for a spare bed. Half an acre of usable land doesn't have that, but we didn't have the proper stuff in our bylaw to help evaluate that application before it got to that point. So the region recently just made an amendment to their bylaw dealing with this, and we're just following suit to try and make sure it's clear that we should be looking at lot creation for the purposes of ensuring a proper, normal, standard septic tile bed on the property. That's really all we're doing, plus there's an added procedure component in here in terms of what the expectations are of staff in the process.
Okay. No, so if it's inappropriate, you'll let me know, but if this passes and an application comes forward exactly the same in terms of statistics and specs, would an application like that one pass?
No.
Okay. That's it.
Other comments? All in favor? That motion carries. Okay, item P13317, a recommendation report Heritage Committee terms of reference. The recommendation is that PD 143 regarding 143-17, apologies, regarding Heritage Committee terms of reference dated November 13th, 2017 be received, and that council gives authority to the mayor and clerk to sign a bylaw that approves the attached terms of reference as the mandate for the West Lincoln Heritage Committee for the remainder of this term of council. I need a mover. Councillor Bilsma, Councillor Bell. Comments? All in favor? That motion carries. Item P134-17 is an information report regarding the proposed regional office plan amendment, ROPA 13, on transportation policies. That report, PD 154-17, regarding proposed regional official plan amendment, ROPA 13, transportation policies, dated November 13th, be received for information. I need, Jesus, receive for information, Councillor Bilsma and Councillor Bell. Comments? They had an open house about this at the region the other day, and there's still plenty of time for input. We'll be talking about this well into next year. So the information is there in the report. All in favor? That motion carries. Okay, other business. P135-17 is a bylaw to appoint Rachel Green as Assistant Secretary Treasurer for the Committee of Adjustment. That's information. Another piece of information is a authorizing bylaw for the road widening conveyances for the multi-use recreation site and Wellandport Library. Those are on tonight's agenda. There is a memo regarding street naming bylaws for Grant Street and Richard Crescent. That's over off Shuri Road and at the Vintage Collection of Bungalows and the Griffin Place condominium developments respectively. And P138-17 is an information report regarding fence bylaw revisions. So you'll see that included in your package. P139-17 are matters of other business by members of this group this evening. Is there any items of other business that wish to be brought forward of an informative nature? Mr. Treble.
All I want to do, Madam Chair, if I may, is 9A appoints Rachel Green as Assistant Secretary Treasurer. That replaces Tara McLaughlin, and this is Rachel Green.
You sat here all night for that. Well, welcome. Welcome.
So I'm thrilled to have her on staff.
We're thrilled to have you here. Welcome. Okay. Oh, you. Oh, my gosh. Yes.
Through you to members of the committee, just a reminder that on Wednesday night, we have a special council meeting at 7 o'clock.
Yes,
And
you'll all
You have been
the
given the
agenda
agenda tonight.
right here. Yes, okay. And just because it's a time-sensitive matter, I know the mayor and all members of council would like to put it out there if anybody's going to watch this between now and Saturday, but on Saturday is the upcoming event at Elko United Church for a Christmas Bazaar. The Legion Villa has their special Christmas festivities from 9 to 12 on Saturday, and we believe that there's also one at the John Calvin School this Saturday, starting at 9 to 12. And I think that's all of them. If I've missed any, please tell me. Seeing no others, is there anyone else that has any matter of business besides the staff? Okay. New business, that would require a immediate attention and would have to have a motion. Seeing none, we are going into confidential matters, and there are 1, 2, 3, there's lots of them. Okay. So there is a legal, P14017 is a legal matter regarding a building code violation, and the applicable closed session exemptions are personnel matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, a litigation or potential litigation, including matters before an administrative tribunal affecting the municipality or the local board, and that will be a verbal update. There is P14117, which is a legal matter, proposal to purchase township lands, and that is personnel matter about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local boards, in litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board. That too is a verbal update. P14217 is an additional verbal update. It's a bylaw enforcement matter, which applicable closed session exemptions follow the personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, litigation or potential litigation, including matters before an administrative tribunal affecting the municipality or local board, and advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose. Item P14317 is another legal matter, a bylaw enforcement update, and the applicable closed session exemptions are personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or a local board, and advice that is subject to a solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose. A verbal update as well. There is P14417, an additional verbal update, which is a proposal to purchase township lands, affordable housing and development, with the applicable closed session exemptions being a proposed or pending acquisition or disposal of land by the municipality or local board, litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board, and item P145-17, which is another legal matter, proposal to purchase township lands, and the applicable closed session exemptions are a proposed or pending acquisition or disposal of land by the municipality or local board, and the litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board. That too is a verbal update.
That last one should include the solicitor-client privilege.
I'm sorry, and the last one should in fact include,
Advice that is subject to solicitor-client.
there you go, advice that is subject to the solicitor-client privilege. I need a mover to go into camera for those issues. Councillor Gannan, Councillor Bell, all in favor? That motion carries. We do have a motion to go past 11. It is now 10:47. We'll be back when we're concluded the in-camera session.